So in the last Friday, what we discussed in the Docker volumes we finished, right? Okay. So today, as we discussed, the volumes are going to share in two ways. One is local and second one is cloud, isn't it? So here the volumes are going to attach to your disk server at the local server, in the sense here Docker host, Docker volumes. Second one is you can through a cloud storage, right? So in this cloud storage, there are three ways are there. One is elastic block store, EBS. Okay. The second one is elastic file system. The third one is S3. So the reason for understanding and explaining this topic is Docker volume is not my major concentration, because we already gave a basic foundation on the volumes. Even most of the real world in the Kubernetes level, they focused. Either I focus on the Docker networking or Docker volume, just like Namke was, that's it. Because most of the companies are using Kubernetes. As I discussed in the beginning only, if you know how to create the container, and if you know how to pull the images, if you know how to push the images, and how to use a Docker hub, and what is a Docker file, and Docker compose. If you know these things enough, other than bit outdated in the sense most of the industry is focusing on the Kubernetes networking, Kubernetes volumes, and so on. Then you ask one question, then why you're teaching the volume? That's why my focus is already explained last day only. So how to bound the volumes and how to use the copy command, right? So what is meant by persistent manner? How can you say it's ephemeral? Already proven it. But my focus is now if the team is using the cloud storage. So the basic objective is we focus on the AWS storage too, right? AWS storage, in this AWS storage, these are all elastic block storage. And we'll discuss about EFS, elastic file system. And we'll discuss about S3, right? So once you understand the elastic block store, you will try to attach the EBS volume to the Docker container, right? Docker container. So that in future, if you really implement your containers in the ECS, what is that? ECS, Elastic Container Service. After completion of the elastic block store with the Docker containers, I will take you to the ECS, Elastic Container Service, because we already discussed about the ECR, isn't it? Right? Elastic Container Registry. Okay. So please focus on what is EBS and how to create a EBS volumes and everything. Put the heading right. Introduction to EBS. So do you understand how we are going the direction? So we are in the Docker, almost reached the end. We need to focus on the Docker compose, and we need to focus on the, so there is a pending topic is ECS Docker Compose. And I already discussed about how to integrate the ECS with auto scaling and load balances. Once you explain this, we are going to focus on the code build. This is also we discussed, right? But we'll try to cover one more time: code deploy and code pipeline. So this week dedicated to entire cloud platform. We are going to finish all these services, and August ending, I'm going to close your batch. It's August, huh? Sorry. Next month. Tell me. ఇదేంటి జులై కదా? So according to deadline, what is according to deadline? When to finish? August only, right? August end. So more enough, right? So this is cloud. We are parallelly learning the cloud, right? No, no. That's a 30 days, right? So we have the Kubernetes, right? Kubernetes and Terraform and Ansible. So, but I requested, but you guys never listen it, and you are busy with the mornings. That's why I never force you, right? So Kubernetes and Ansible and Terraform. So yeah. So we in this Kubernetes also that's the reason I'm parallelly taking to the cloud platform. So in the Saturday we discuss identity access management, VPCs, and even in this week we're more focusing on all this list of services. మీరు వినరు కదా మరి. మార్నింగ్ ఐ రిక్వెస్టెడ్ ఎ లాట్, బాబు కంబైన్ చేస్తానంటే నో వన్ విల్ లిజనింగ్ యాక్చువల్లీ. సో ఫస్ట్ ఫోకస్ ఆన్ ఇట్, రైట్? సో yeah, so is a block level storage, and remember it, EBS is a regional level service. Is a regional level service, is a block storage, and is a regional level storage. Remember one key point: instance and volumes must be in same region. Keep in mind, same region. And so here at a time can attach one EBS to a single EC2. Of course, we can attach to multiple EC2s also, right? Can attach to multiple EC2, right? But if you want to attach to multiple EC2, what I need to do? You have to introduce a concept called as a multi-attach. This feature can be applicable to specific type of volumes. In AWS, we have different types of volumes actually. Like we'll discuss GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, ST1. We have different types of volume types. Got it? Can we go? Yes. So here EBS supports volume types. Different types of volume types. Volume types are general purpose GP2 with SSD, GP3 with SSD. Even we have IOPS I1 and IOPS I2, and we have something like a ST1. These are the different types of volume types. GP2, GP3. GP in the sense general purpose. GP in the sense general purpose. General purpose. General purpose. So SSD, you know, right? Solid state drive. Solid state drive. Solid state drive. Got it? Solid state drive. See, when you go for GP2 and GP3, general workloads. General workloads. General workloads. You can go with the general workloads. Sir, what is meant by general workloads? Normal generic applications if you take in our industry. For example, who are working in a dev team, QA team, for especially a normal application like e-commerce applications, financial applications, even any kind of apps, any kind of insurance, right? You take it. So this general purpose and GP2, GP3 is always useful, right? GP2 and GP3. Got it? So sometimes IOPS in the sense input output per second. Input output per second. So IOPS, input output per second. So especially who are dealing the huge clusters in the database level. Like if you say like Hadoop, suppose who are working on Hadoop based environment, if you require more input and output per second, you can use it. Even there is so this is ST1, right? There is a ST1. Separate volumes are there, right? Provided by the AWS environment. This ST1 is completely designed for high throughput, even milliseconds. Suppose in milliseconds level also I need a more throughput required, then ST1 is required. And here one more common volume type is throughput. What is that? Throughput. Throughput based volumes are also available. So as a DevOps engineer, you must understand what is the general purpose, what is the IOPS based, and what is the throughput based volumes, right? So based on the application, based on the storage, based on the processing, based on the type, you have to decide what kind of volumes required. Generally, if you go to the live environment, your architect team will decide it. You don't bother about that. Who design the templates, they will take care about that. Okay. Next. One more key point, remember it. By default, when you launch the EC2 instance, your VBS volumes are not encrypted. Keep this point. Not encrypted. So this is your responsibility to encrypt volumes. Encrypt the volumes. Encrypt the volumes. So that's it, to encrypt the volumes. Why should I encrypt the volumes? To protect my data. So to protect the data, Amazon is going to introduce one more service called as a key management services, KMS. So by using KMS, we can encrypt the volumes. Next, one more key point here is once volumes are created, you can attach the volumes, you can detach the volumes, and you can copy the volumes. You can copy the volumes as a snapshot for backup, as a snapshots. And even you can copy the snapshots. You can copy the snapshots from one region to another region. One region to another region, right? And even that the snapshots, from the snapshot, you can create the images also, right? You can create the images, right? So this images, from the images, image is nothing but technically in AWS, we call as a Amazon machine image, right? So from the AMI, you can also create the instance, right? So what I'm trying to say, volumes are basically attached to your server. Attached to your server. It's just like a pen drive. Got my point? So multiple pen drives, you can attach it to the single server. And remember one key point. So once the images are created, see, image. If you're looking at the architecture clearly, volume to snapshot, snapshots to AMI, AMI to instance. So that's the reason volumes are very essential, right? So that's why when you're looking at the closerly, this volumes concept, these volumes are integral part of, if you take like elastic block store, you can attach to EC2 server. You can attach to EC2 server. That's why this is called as a EBS backed AMIs. You can call it as. What is that? EBS backed AMIs. Why? Because your EBS is attached to the server and EBS volumes are independent on the EC2 instance. It's not dependent on. Even though if there is no EC2, you can create the volume. Am I right? You can create the volume. Without EC2 server, you can create the volume. It's called independent on the EC2 life cycle. Remember, this is also one key point you have to understand. So once you create the volume, you know very well, you can modify. You can modify volume. And remember one more interview point. Once volumes are created, you cannot decrease it. So only increase option only Amazon provides, no decrease. This is also one key point you have to understand. Got it. So here one thing looking at here, EBS volumes are EBS backed in the sense what this volumes are attached to AMI, right? Even you can break it also, right? So you can divide EBS volumes and you can take it in a different way. And if you want to attach volume within the EC2 server, what I'm trying to say, just like a pen drive, you can plug it, unplug it. You can attach, you can detach, you can delete, you can modify, you can copy. These are the basic operations, right? Here, I don't want to attach always. I don't want to detach it. I want attach volume within the EC2 only, right? That is called instance backed AMIs. Please note it down. There are two types of AMIs. Instance backed AMIs and second one is EBS backed AMI. AMI, Amazon Machine Image. Got it. And one more thing is, I forgot to say that whenever volumes you created, whenever volumes are created, by default, these volumes are encrypted at the rest, using REST. Volumes are going to be encrypted at rest. Rest in the sense representational state transfer, right? Yeah, please. Volumes are by default not encrypted. If you encrypt, yes, obviously it is going to be expose your keys through REST API call, right? REST API call, representational state transfer. Got it? Now, looking at once by default, see, whenever you create the EC2 instance, for example, if you're looking at all our CI/CD tools, by default you are launching, right? Whenever you launch, you will get a default AMI, right? From the AMI, you are launching the EC2, right? Whenever you launch the EC2 instance, by default, EBS volumes are created or not? EBS volumes are created or not? When these volumes are created, by default, partition will come. It automatically partition the volumes by the Amazon only. You don't need to worry about it. Once partitions are created, done by the Amazon itself, it is automatically create the file system also, right? Once file system is created, it automatically mount the data without our intervention, right? So partition is going to done automatically, creating the file system and mount data. So this is happening in the default level, isn't it? But we never use a default. We never depend on the Amazon. According to our requirement, we should create our own volumes, right? We should create our own EC2, right? We need to launch our own EC2 in our own network, right? Everything is our customized. That's if you're looking at the cloud platform as a service, infrastructure as a service is under our environment, under our control actually in generally. SaaS is completely maintained by the Amazon. You don't need to bother about that. Everything they will give it. But who are working on the infrastructure as a service and the platform as a services, you are going to focus on the IaaS. Mean customized. What I'm trying to say that you have to control. You have to take the ownership on your services for your client project. Can you understand? Right. So it means that if you create your own volume, who will partition it? You sure? Then it indicates that partition is the concept of Linux. So that's why disk partition, disk management, right? Volume management. So this is done through you only, right? It means that whenever you create your own volume, for example, I'm launching this is my own VPC. Within the VPC, I'm going to create my own subnet. Within the subnet, I want to create my own EC2 server. Okay. Within that, I have to attach one EBS volume. Okay. This attached volume is, for example, 100 GB disk. Just assume it, 100 GB, right? So this is given to QA team and the dev team. So you got one requirement from your on-site lead is, okay, so Mr. Rahul, you try to create 100 GB servers or 3 virtual servers or 5 virtual. For example, there are 4 virtual servers running, 2 servers from offshore, 2 servers from on-site. Now I have only 100 GB disk. So try to break down your 100 GB disk into 4 partitions and 2 partitions attached to one server and 2 partitions attached to another server, right? Multi-attached servers. That movement, how to partition the data? So how to split this entire disk? This is called 100 GB. Then how to partition like one partition? This is 4 partition totally. The 25, 25, 25, 25. How can I partition this 100 GB? That's why you have to focus on either MBR based partition or maybe GPT partition. That's why if you're looking at in the beginning of the Linux session, I explained booting process. Booting process. And everyone require fast-based learning and fast-based. Today only I have to wake up. Today only I have to grow up. Today only I have to marry. Today only I have to die. So this is a DevOps. I'm getting very tense myself. But how the guys are going to manage this much big topic? Maybe. Okay, so this is how to partition it. 2 best. MBR partition, GPT partition, right? MBR in the sense master boot record. GPT. So if I want to do the MBR partition, GPT partition, I must understand we have some utilities, right? What is that? Utility, right? Utility is nothing but there is a one command called as a fdisk or maybe parted. So these are the two basic utilities available in the Linux actually. So using fdisk utility, you can create the partition. We can list the partition. You can save the content of your partition. Okay. And take this example. I break down into 25, 25, 25, 25 GB, right? So this is the developer region. This is the QA region. This is called UAT region. This is called production region. Just assume it, right? Production data is different than dev data. Dev data is different than QA. QA data is different than UAT. Every team is different data or unique data. Others data should not collide. So how to maintain this one? Then within the UAT related data only you have to create. So you cannot directly go and copy and paste your data into the other folders. That's the reason what they do is first they'll ask, please create the file system, right? File system in the sense, what is your data? How much data you are going to store? What are the different file system types your disk is going to support, right? One of the main file system type which is supported in your Linux file system is XFS. What is this? XFS. XFS stands for Extended File System. So you must understand what is the purpose of this XFS. Through this XFS, we are going to create the file system. Once file system is created, you need to mount it. Suppose development data, where to mount? Development room only. QA data is going to store into the QA room only. That's we should know how to mount the data, right? So once mount, now recollect your Docker volumes. We mounted, right? By default, whenever you run the Docker create, volume create, by default, it is created in the var lib Docker and volume. With your volume, my volume, under volume, there is underscore data. This is your mount path. Isn't it? This mount path is nothing but host machine, isn't it? That's why even though we delete the container, your data will be safe in the host machine, right? So that's why who will set this directory? You only. So that is called mount point. That's how to create the mount. There is a command called as a mount. How to unmount? You mount. Where you started, where you ended. So where you started, where you ended. Got it? Next, now your disk is consuming by you. Now your Docker volumes are saved in the EBS volumes, and your EBS is properly partitioned. Your EBS is properly encrypted. Your volumes are properly running. Suppose one fine day, your total 4 disks is full. All teams are consumed. Your application is growing bigger and bigger. And this time what I need to do? You have to monitor whether disk is full or not, right? If the disk is full, automatically have to send the alerts to the team about please clean up your unwanted data. Please try to maintain the disk properly, right? Unwanted data is there, unwanted files are there. So any unnecessary consumption is going on, please try to remove it. After getting all the points from the dev team or QA team and UAT team, then see. Okay, so it automatically scan it, right? You should scan the disk. You can scan the disk and you have to monitor the disk. You need to monitor the disk. So it means that whenever the 90% of the disk is full, automatically have to send the alert notification to SNS. Then how the SNS is going to receive the 90% is disk full or not? Then you have to define the metrics. This matrix is captured by us using CloudWatch. So that CloudWatch is going to send the notification to the SNS. SN is going to send the email to the teams, right? Team will take care about it. So, but actually, to be honestly, I should not speak something because it's a recording. I have to control. Very nice. So if you're looking at water service, EBS, KMS, EC2, AMI, and IAM, we have to create the role. And there is a CloudWatch, then EBS, already, sorry, yeah. So EBS, isn't it? So this services will be integrated finally. ఇక్కడ ఎన్ని సర్వీసెస్ వచ్చినాయి 1 2 3 4 5 6 right? Then what about AMI? 7 right? కాపీ చేశానా డూప్లికేట్ అవుతుందా సో ఐడెంటిటీ యాక్సెస్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ EC2 EBS then the CloudWatch. What next? There is a already VPC is a concept automatically come and KMS and AMI, right? And already we discussed VPC, right? Already we discussed AMI, right? IAM, right? Then so by end of this week and code build, code deploy, code pipeline, and already we discussed ECR and ECS, right? And also we are going to cover the auto scaling and elastic load balances. Now tell me how many services? Enough. Maybe another 5 to 6 extra, 20, more than enough. So that's why in that way, I'm trying to plan it. I'm not just blindly telling the concepts, the integration part, right? Integration should be covered as well as a live environment, as well as a key management services. Maybe unfortunately, I think so, your batch may not like me. Definitely. That's the reason. Maybe I'm not reached their expectations. Whenever they have a free. Okay, let us go. Let's try to this management console. First, we'll go with the basic level today, like how to create the volumes, how to create the snapshots, and how to copy the snapshot from one region to another region. Then how to create the AMIs. From the AMI, how to create the instances, we'll see. And tomorrow we'll completely dedicated to partitions and mount points, and we'll integrate the metrics. We need to scan the EBS volumes. Whenever a disk is reached the 90%, automatically CloudWatch is going to send the SNS notifications. So that you will get more idea. So by default, when you launch the this one or this one? Hmm. You can type it. Almost the theoretical discussion took almost 40 minutes. Hmm. No issues, no issues. That's why I will try to take one weekend for Python. So that's the reason I requested, but your batch not responded. Um, but if you really come in the morning as Python and Ansible is completely finished. That's okay. So go to the EC2 instance. As per schedule, May 29th, right? We started. Okay, May 29th. So June 1st. May 23rd. Oh, sorry. April 23rd. April 23rd to 29th. So that's why May 1st. May, June, July, and August. So how many weekends? For every four Sundays every month. 12 days remove it. Minutes. So going in a right way only, right? I think so. We never delay anything, right? And then maximum 1 or 2 sessions we stopped it. It's very negligible, man. In this huge time period, 1 or 2 days is simply. Okay, go to the instance. Launch instance. So here, if you go through this, మీకు DevOps 4 months అని ముందే తెలుసా? చెప్పారా? ఓకే. మరి 4 months ఎందుకు చెప్పారు జనరల్లీ? Why these guys are explained about 4 months? And they said 4 months or 45 days? 4 months only, right? Just 120 days and this is 4 into 30. So here, if you go to the volumes, see volumes are independent in nature, right? So see, I'm going to create a volume. So looking at general purpose SSD GP3, GP2, SSD IO1, ISD, IOPS SSD, throughput optimized. Most of the times we use general purpose. So general purpose or provision IOPS and the throughput optimized SD only for your applications actually. So one of the top interview question, definitely they'll ask, what are the different volume types supported by the EBS? And see, I'm going to give some 100 GB disk. And remember one thing, right now I'm launching in AP Southern A, and one point is region and right. Volumes and servers should be in the same region, right? So let's go create a volume. So my wall. Okay. Let's go to EC2 instance. Now I'm trying to launch EC2 instance. So So Amazon Linux. So instance type t.micro. Instance types we'll see. In the coming Saturday, we are going to talk about big services, actually instance types and security group, NACL, and placement groups, and peering connections. So that you'll get instance type is very important. On what basis you choose the instance type? And a key pair login. I'm going to create a key pair. Suppose my EC2. To create key pair, just scroll down. I hope in the last day we clearly discussed, right, how to create the VPC and what is auto public assign IP and everything. See, by default, I already shown you, you cannot reduce. You cannot, you should either increase it or you can use as it is, right? So this is a inbuilt-in disk coming along with the EC2. Previous one 100 GB, I created independently. Okay, just go and launch EC2 instance. Go and launch the EC2 instance. Now view all instances. Just refresh. Just select and launch EC2 instance. Downloads. Paste. Now see. See if I see LSBLK. Right now, by default, 8 GB hard disk is created by the Amazon. It is automatically partitioned, right? I'm not done it. Let's say if you're looking at previous explanation, default, when you launch the EC2 instance, Amazon going to create one partition, one mount, one file system. That's a mount points looking at to the first disk. But when you create the volumes, we already created our own volumes, isn't it? Yes or no? The zone is AP South 1B. See, this is my volume, right? My volume is also running in AP South 1B. Now see, volumes are just available, not attached. That's if you go and see the LSBLK, it is not showing our volume. 100 GB disk is not showing, right? Why? Because your pen drive is not attached to the server. So what I need to do? Select the volume, go to the action, attach volume. How to attach the volume? Using this option. See, AP South 1B, my EC2 is running. See, device name. For example, recommended device is, for example, I'm taking dev SDB. Go and click on attach volume. So what we did? We create our own volume and we attach volume to the running EC2 instance. Now you just go and see the LSBLK. See, my XVDB came. Right. So, but my disk is not partitioned, isn't it? Disk is not partitioned. This is our responsibility to partition the disk. So how can you partition my disk? Looking at, there is a command called as a fdisk. Looking at, first you have to list down the block. XVDB is my newly created disk or not? Yes or no? So there is no partition here. There is no mount point. It is like a raw disk. You cannot directly allocate this 100 GB to as it is, right? That's we have to partition using fdisk. Fdisk. What we are going to disk? We are going to partition my disk is /dev xvdb, right? Why I'm using dev? All block devs are saved in the /dev directory only, right? Get it? See? Welcome to fdisk. Okay. If you want to partition it, just I want to know what are the commands inside it. Just use M for help. See, these are the commands you need to use when you are doing the partition. So one of the first command is, see, what is this? L is a non-partition types. Second one is P is the print partition table. N is the adding the new partition. T is the, suppose I want to change from MBR to GPT. Then V for verifying the partition table. I for printing the information about. D for delete the partition. So that's why these commands are essential. Now, what are these things? These commands are Linux commands or maybe Kubernetes commands. Then I don't want to, I already tired. Really. So all right. See, looking at now, first of all, I want to create my own volumes. So partition. What is the command I have to use? N. Okay. So looking at, give the N here. Now it is asking, boss, what kind of partition type? Is the primary partition or extended partition? By default, I'm going to go with the primary partition. By default, how many partitions? For 4. So P for primary. Just head it. Hey, there are 4 partitions are there by default. Right now you are in the first partition. Am I right? Okay, yes, boss, I'm in the first partition only. Then it is saying that first total 100 GB is calculated into these many kilobytes, first of all. Next, first 2048 kilobytes are reserved for the operating system. You never enter it, first of all. That's why your first sector is going to start from 20488, not for the first sector, right? Okay, so am I right? Oh, you can note it down later. Anyhow, it's recording, right? Now see, just first sector is start from 2048, head it. So then it's saying like last sector. So total 100 GB is going to split into how many partition? 4, according to us, right? Our first partition start from the 2048 as a first sector. From that first sector to next to 25 GB, I need one partition. That is asking. Last sector is here looking at plus 25 is G capital. G in the sense GB, right? Okay, head it. See, what is this? Created a new partition, one type of Linux. One partition is already created, right? Next, again go for P. P for not P, right? N. N for new creation. P for printing the partition table. Like, let us go and P. Oh, very nice. Arey Babu, this is a, so looking at disk partition is a DOS, MBR by default it is. MBR in the sense disk partition, DOS partition. DOS in the sense disk operating system. Okay. What is the next? N for second partition. So creating the partition, right? You want to go for primary? Yes. So partition 2, right? You are in? Yes. So first sector is already 20 GB, right? So that 20 GB is going to start from this one, right? After subtracting the 25 GB, from 25 GB in the sense from here to last sector. So yes, second sector, first sector of the second partition start from the F52 onwards. Yes. From there, next 25G I want. Second partition, right? Right, second partition. Again, suppose, okay, P command we already discussed. Let us go for P we discussed, right? L. Let us go for L command. List the known partition types. Supposed to understand L. So these many partitions are there. Got it? Linux supports these many partitions, right? Got it? These many types, BAS. That's why Linux is a big world, which cannot be understood by you. All right. Suppose N for. So now I am going to third partition, right? So right now, totally 2 is free, right? Select P, default, yes. So right now we are in the default third partition, right? Yes. Already first sector start from the 10048, yes. Last sector is 25Z. Okay, 3 partition is done. Okay, next N, new partition. Okay, what says that? See, Are Babu, already 3 primary partition is over. We have only 1 external partition, right? If I go ahead, so first sector is left sector, I'm taking complete one. Next sector is I'm taking the last one, right? So total 100 GB I was discussed. I partitioned it, and once partition is done, see, there is a what is this? I printing the partition, but I want to save and exit actually. I want to save and exit. If you want to save and exit, there is a beautiful command called write table to the disk and exit. Without W, if you use only Q, what happens? Quit without saving the changes. So after partition, what I need to do? We have to give W, right? W. Right. So totally these many disks are created now. Go and see it. Now LSBLK. See, my XVDB is going to take into the 4. Looking at this is 1K. I intentionally took it because there is a logic you need to understand. So I'm entering into the extended partition, not primary partitions, right? Why it is there, that we'll discuss later. Right now, it will take too much time. But the total, see, 25 GB, 1 partition, another 25 GB, another 25 GB. And another 25 GB is in the extended partition level, right? Now, but partition is okay. What about my mount? Suppose why you took the 3 partition here, 4? Why you are going to go for 4 partition? To store my data. To whom? Per team. How many teams? 3 or 4 teams, right? Now I do one thing. Where is my present working directory? Root. I want to create a directory under root like a develop. And I'm going to create one directory called QA. And I'm going to create directory called as, for example, devops. So that first 3 types of disks I want to mount to this directory. I want to ask my developer, everyone is going to store developer data into the development directory, testing directory QA, and devops. Clear? Okay, mount point you created, but still you should not, still you didn't say what kind of data I'm going to store it. Because as we discussed, according to the computers, data is going to maintain, data is a different formats actually. Suppose this room is capacity of having 50 members. Just assume it. The capacity is 50 rooms only. In case if I want 100, this room is not enough. If I want 1000, this room is not enough. So based on the data, based on the type of data, you should decide the file system. We have different types of file system like XFS, extension 2, extension 3, extension 4, binary file system, ZFS, NFS. So based on the file system only, it will decide it how large file system it is. If you go and read my blocks concept in Linux, in those days, in the beginning of the days, I said about boot block and inode block, and there is a data block, super block. So file system is decided at the time of launching the EC2 instance, right? When launching the OS server, you have to decide what kind of file system type it is. Even if it is not there, you can create your own file system. Ask them to store your developer data into the development directory. This is not developer's job. This is your job actually. So what kind of file system types you require for your entire server environment? That's what I'm doing is, there is a command called make file system for XFS. For the /dev xvdb1, I'm giving my own development folder, right? So what I'm trying to say, this directory going to mount to the this one, xvdb1 disk. It says that extra arguments. Oh, sorry. First, you have to create this volume. Next, db2. Next, db3. So I created the file system and I attached the file system to my disks using mkfs command. After that, we have to mount it. Mount /dev, looking at mount /xvdb1. I want to attach my develop, and I want to mount QA for xvdb2. For xvdb3, I'm going to save to devops. Right? I mounted right. Now if I say lsblk, looking at, see, I partition my disk, right? Development partition, QA partition, and DevOps partition, isn't it? So now once you mount it, you can also unmount. Suppose unmount your data. Now see, you mount. Next. And that's okay. That's not a big deal. Next, umount, not unmount, umount command. Umount. Now see, after that lsblk, see, your data will be unmounted. So mount, unmount, lsblk, xfs, mbr partition, fdisk. Okay, now do one thing. Now my disk is properly partitioned, right? Now, next, once the volumes are created, now this volume is attached to my EC2 instance, right? And go to the action. So you can detach, you can delete, you can create the snapshots also. Go and click on snapshot. So I'm snapshot the 1B region as a volume type. Suppose my wall snapshot. Just volumes are not encrypted. Go and create a snapshot. Right now I'm in the Mumbai region, and it's going to be take the snapshot. How to get the snapshot here? Snapshots. Right. So I'm giving my snap. Yeah, my snap. Okay. Now, snapshot is creating. It takes some time. Now snapshot is completed. So it's like you have a backup. Snapshot for backups, right? And you need to take the snapshot either manually through automation. Not manually. You need to automate through, go with the AWS backup services there, right? AWS backup. So you can try. So AWS backup. Backup centrally manage and automate your backup across your AWS services, right? So to take the snapshot of your backup of your snapshot, backup of your AMIs, you can use AWS backup services, right? Okay. So select here, and from the snapshot, you can copy the snapshot from one region to another region. Even you can create the volume. For example, I said by default, you cannot increase it. Even we can extend it, right? Suppose you feel it, your volumes are not enough to store your data. If you want to increase it, create volume from snapshot. Suppose you are going to copy snapshot. Suppose I'm going to go for AP South. Suppose I want to keep into Singapore region, AP Southeast 1. AP South East 1. I want to move to where? Regional, like Singapore region. Just go and snapshot. So snapshot. From the volume, we are going to create the snapshot. From the snapshot, see. Now let us try to open Singapore region also. So volumes are okay. Next, snapshot. This is a snapshot here. My snapshot. From the snapshot, you can also create the image also, right? Create image from snapshot so that you can server, you can data and application, everything is zipped as AMI. And you can throw the AMI to the teams. From the AMI, they will launch the EC2 instance. So in the real world, they cannot directly launch the EC2 instance. They launch the EC2 instance from the AMI only. As a AWS administrator, your responsibility is you should create this AMIs first. So before that, first you have to launch the EC2 instance, configure every required software, databases, operating systems, all packages, app servers, DB servers, whatever information is required for the teams. They will create AMIs, they will throw the AMI to the teams. From the AMI, you need to launch our application and you need to develop it. That is the actual process. So see, my EC2 image. See, same 64 virtualization type. See, by default boot mode I'm taking as UEFI. Even you can use 100 GB by default. But earlier by default 8 GB. That is come from the Amazon. Now I'm creating my own AMI to my teams, right? And even looking at throughput, what is this? These volumes are deleted automatically. That's why they will deselect this option. So it means that what? Even you are trying to delete the EC2 instance, your volumes are never deleted by default. Remember this point. That's why in the real world, they will uncheck this. See, they won't give the control to you. Administrators is different, normal team is different, right? Administrator only will take the permission whether they are going to delete or not. That's a deletion on behavior. By default, it is checked. In the sense what? Amazon created that option so that as a free tier user, we can remove it. If they delete, if they uncheck it, what happens? Every time they have to delete their volumes, right? It's a headache process for them, right? That's why in the real world, this option should be deselect. If you select, what happens? Automatically deleted. This is virtual labs, that's why we have to select. In the real world, it's opposite. So now go and create image. So before that, go to the snapshot of the Singapore region. See, a snapshot is get ready, right? Now it is a pending. 100% complete. Again, same story. From the snapshot, you can create a volume, you can create an image, you can create the snapshot, you can delete the snapshot, you can launch the copy duration calculator. This is different. And even you can maintain the different snapshot settings. Clicking it, modify the permission. Go and click here. See, you can make it as a public AMIs and private AMIs. Sharing option, right? So private in the sense, share the snapshot with the specific accounts. Otherwise, if you select the public, got it? That's why they'll ask this question. Go to the instance here. Go to the images here. AMI, right? We create our own AMI, right? In the Mumbai region. See, this is my AMI, right? Status is, see, this is currently, visibility is a private. So if you want to change it, what I need to do? Go to the snapshot and we have to change the options, right? Just now I explained this one. Right now I'm in the Singapore region. See, by default, it is a private, right? You can change to public also. Where I get it? Where can I get it? See, right now I'm in the snapshot. Go to the action. Snapshot settings are there, right? But if I am in the my own Mumbai region, now already my image is get ready, right? Okay, go to the action. Even if you go, there is a deregister, disable AMI, copy AMI. Again, we can copy the AMI from one region to another region, right? Even you can change the permission, edit AMI permissions. Right now it is a private. But if you want to go for public, snapshots, go to the snapshot and you have to change the settings, right? So go to the EC2 instance or go to the AMI. First, looking at. Now, once images are there, now go to the EC2 instance now. Now, this time, I'm going to launch my EC2 instance from my own AMI, not Amazon AMI. Go and see. So after session is over, Rahul, you please try to remove all the snapshots, all the volumes. First, you stop it and detach it and remove the images, remove the volumes and remove the snapshots first immediately. Terminate the EC2 instances. And there is one small thing we have to understand. See, right now, LSBLK. Partition gone. Very mounted chesam, unmount chesama. Very nice. Okay. Looking at okay, I mounted. Just exit. Exit. Now I'm going to re-log in. su sudo su hyphen ls blk. Now it is right. Now I do one thing. Before that, go to my first. Let me launch EC2 instance. I'll come back. I'll give one small question for you by stopping this session. So my EC2 from my AMI. Okay. See? Right. We got our own AMI or not? So root device type is EVS. Okay. Owned by me or share with me, right? Right now I'm giving by, see, share with me in the sense, see, looking at, I'm going to share. Okay. So if you go with the owned by me, let's go. Just select, just scroll down, proceed without keypad. This is right. Manu create this thing, we created right. Suppose if you go, so this is the way they set default volumes. This is the way I set my own default EBS volume. Clear? So that's why here I never understand this cloud. I never consider this is a cloud. Whenever I touch this option manually going to the, I just feel like I'm going in the Linux river. Disk, CPU, memory, security, network, file systems, shared file systems, and auto scaling, load balancers, memory, what all these things will be infra only, infrastructure only, right? So the crazy guys will use crazy one. That's it. Got it. So what we did? So now the thing is, before stop the session, right now I'm in first, let us try to go to the Singapore region. I'm trying to delete my snapshot. Okay, now volumes. So images and volumes. Go to the snapshot of the Mumbai region. And before that, I'm trying to go to my EC2 instance. Let me stop. Let me stop EC2 instance. Okay, this is successfully stopped. Okay, now do one thing. Again, I'm going to start instance. So AMIs and volumes, snapshots, instances. Now select this one. Connect SSH client. Go back and right click, git bash here, paste. Right? Sudo su hyphen. Even though I mounted right, after the stop the exit instant restart, your partition is gone, but it should not gone, right? No, after unmount again I mounted right, mount right. So why it is happen? So how to save it permanently? That tomorrow I'll give the small tip. After partitioning, you have to keep the entire partition into one file system table /etcfs tab, file system table. You have to add our partitions to this table, right? Looking at it. FS tab. See, in this table, we have to mount all your data, right? Here we have to enter our partition data, right? See, by default, this is available, right? So once you add it and once you save it, once you restart it, your data will never shut down. That's all. Okay. So tomorrow we'll go deeply dive and we'll discuss about the Docker volumes with EBS and we will mount points. Then we'll come back and I will explain how to monitor the disk and how to integrate the EBS with the CloudWatch and how to set the alarms and metrics in order to monitor our disk utilization. Okay. Exit. And you please try to close all your EC2 instances. Okay, now. Thank you, guys. Catch you tomorrow.